And we are live. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Book Club Bros podcast, guys. We are reading The Atomic Habits by James Clear. I took mine off.
I
I took
see
my
that.
I took my cover off,
It's
man,
just me and Miguel
because
towing the ship.
man,
now.
that cover was sliding off all
You
around.
could just show it like this. It's got Atomic Habits on
There you
there.
go. Atomic Habits by
It is.
James Clear right there, guys.
Nice.
And if you are new here, welcome in, welcome in. What I recommend is pausing the episode. We are on part 3, so we read from chapter 10 to 15. So if you are listening, you are new, make sure to stop right here, go read those 5 chapters, come back, and then we'll discuss. But guys, how did you like this part, Landon?
I liked it so much I kept going.
Yeah. This man texted me last night and he said, "Hey, let Miguel know
To have his book ready.
to have his book ready." Yeah. And I was like, "What do you mean, bro?" And he's like, "Well, we're done, right?" And I was like, "No, we have a whole nother 5 chapters to go. I think 5 or 6 chapters." That guy was shook.
That's crazy. I got a brisk 20 minutes left of reading in the book. Honestly, I'm kind of sad. I didn't realize it was almost over.
Wait, so did you finish the book?
Not quite. No, I was gonna finish the book last night because I had a few
Oh.
chapters. I thought I had a few chapters left, but really I was just a few chapters ahead.
Oh, there you go. And now you're basically in a week up. And now you're
I
gonna wait
know,
till
yeah.
the last day.
So I'm gonna
though,
read,
and
like,
still finish the next.
Half a chapter every day. That's my plan now.
All right, guys. So yeah, chapter 10 to 15 is what we're discussing today, and then we follow up by our short snippets at the very end of the episode. And starting off with chapter 10, how to find and fix the causes of your bad habits.
What page is that?
Page 2,
Oh, okay. A little further back.
125.
Man, my gosh.
Yeah,
I
way
was
back there.
reading.
Yeah.
Reading.
But I had something on 128 for a little highlight.
I got nothing before that. Maybe I didn't read
Nothing
it.
before.
Maybe I just skipped.
You just skipped chapter 10?
I didn't have anything.
All
I
right,
just
chapter
jotted.
10. My highlight was on page 128, and it was about. He kind of goes on and talking about the ancient desires that humans have, how we're just fulfilling those roles in different ways. So like, one of the human nature things that we need to do is find love and reproduce, and he equates that to using Tinder as like a need. So he says, he's on page 128, he says, here's the powerful part. There are many ways to address the same underlying motive. One person might learn to reduce stress by smoking a cigarette. Another person learns to ease their anxiety by going for a run. Your current habits are not necessarily the best way to solve problems you face. They are just the methods you learn to use. Once you associate a solution with a problem you need to solve, you keep coming back to it. So I thought that was just an interesting thing that everyone has the same desires and human natures, but it's just about applying it differently. It can either benefit or hurt you. I thought I had something on 129 too. If anyone has anything on that. I thought this was really interesting how he says that life in general, he says life feels reactive, but it's actually predictive. All day long, you're making your best guess of how to act given what you have seen and what has worked for you in the past. You are endlessly predicting what will happen in the next moment. I thought that was just an interesting thing that goes back onto the. I think he pointed something out. The same thing with just your visual cues, how you pick up so many things you don't even know how you're influenced. Yeah, but Miguel, you said you had something.
Yeah,
on that next
131.
131.
So I always enjoy when the books like give you tricks to like change your mind frame, and it's as simple as just words. So here at the top of 131, he says, "Now imagine just changing one word. You don't have to, you get to. So you get to wake up early for work. You get to make another sales call for your business. You get to cook dinner for your family. By simply changing one word, you shift the way you view each event. You transition from seeing these behaviors as burdens and turn them into opportunities."
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
that.
I highlighted that too.
I know. It goes to just I thought it was cool, just the concept of reprogramming your brain, where it says you can make hard habits more attractive if you can learn to associate them with a positive experience. I think reprogramming and just rethinking the way that you do stuff is one of the easiest ways to just change your perception of it so you can just go into it with a different attitude. Because I feel like as much as we want to like be happy, we're almost hardwired to like, I think, I mean, it's talked about it throughout the book how like through early civilization we were like always on edge looking for like you know, whatever type of predator or
Yeah,
whatever
threats.
type of threat you could perceive, threats and stuff like that, to where it's just like it's almost super easy to like, even in a good situation, like I even find that on vacation this past week, like it's you know, it's still easy to like look at something a certain way and to not attack it with a positive mindset, and then you're a few hours later and you're just like, oh man, like that wasn't as big of a deal as I thought it was. Like, why did I make this such a big deal in like a certain sense? Like, if you can just try and reprogram your brain in the moment and create those habits, then like it can just lead to a much more positive like way of thinking.
Yeah, it's tough. It's easier said than done,
Yeah,
for sure. That was it. Those were my kind of couple highlights. Does anyone else have anything for the rest of chapter 10?
I mean, I just wanted to talk about the whole like having a habit to get you into focus mode. I mean, we all played some sport at some point, so like I think mine was definitely listening to music and then shooting around before games. That just helped me.
Oh,
Like,
the pre-game. Yeah.
that just always helped me. But they take it a step further with this, and instead of just like doing it like pre-game stuff, it's like it becomes habits, and like in your workflow, like you sit down, you do certain steps before you start working, and it kind of just tricks your brain into thinking like, okay, it's time to lock in, like let's get to focusing. So those are just other small habits that you can do just to get yourself going. Because I feel like, I don't know, I don't necessarily like when I sit down and edit, I don't have like a routine, but I think I'm gonna try and find something to make it like step by step. Okay, I'm gonna do these things real quick, and my brain will know it's time to do some editing or something like that.
That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like even though you don't think you do, I'm sure you do.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
as
what-
funny
yeah,
as funny as you think,
yeah.
you know, turn on your monitor, turn on that, adjust everything. Yeah. It is funny. Moving on to the third law, make it easy. Chapter 11, walk slowly but never backward. I thought this was interesting. Just the first story. I've actually heard this story in different ways, but basically he starts off chapter 11 with saying, there's a professor at a University of Florida who divided his film photography class students into two groups. One of the left side of the classroom, he said, would be the quantity group, where they would be graded slowly or solely on the amount of what they produced. On the final day of class, he would tally the number of photos submitted by each student. 100 photos would equal an A, 90 photos equals B, 80, and so on. And then on the right side, it was a quality group. They would be graded only on the excellence of their work. They would need to produce one photo during the semester, just one, but to get an A, it has to be a nearly perfect image. At the end of the term, he was surprised to find out that all the best photos overall were produced by the quantity group. During the semester, these students were busy taking photos, experimenting, composition, lighting, testing, and stuff like that, they were learning from their mistakes. In the process of creating 100 of photos, they honed in their skills. Meanwhile, the quality group didn't really have little to show for their efforts. So definitely just like understanding that reps help overall. You know, don't overthink, don't plan too much. Like once you have some sort of goal in mind and what you need to do, just start attacking it no matter which way you find out, and you'll learn on the way.
I like how it talks about that more too on the like the bottom of 143 when it's talking about like how long it takes to form a new habit. This section like really reminds me of like lifting weights, but like lifting mental weights, where it's like talking about how long it takes to form your new habit. Is saying like the more you repeat an activity, the more structure your brain changes, becoming efficient at that activity. And then it goes down a little bit further and it says, with each repetition, cell-to-cell signaling improves the neural connections and they tighten. First described by neuropsychologist Donald Hebb in 1949, this phenomenon is commonly known as Hebb's law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. So, I mean, I just think like it talks a little bit more like the more you work certain parts of your brain, like musicians have a certain part of their brain that is just strong, like bigger or stronger or fires better than just normal people. And I think that that's like just crazy to think about. If like whatever you devote your time into, your brain like starts to change. Like
Yeah.
it changes the way that you think. It changes because, obviously, like if every time you sat down to play the guitar, it felt like it was your first time playing the guitar, then you would eventually not want to do it. But the fact that you do it, you master this, then you move on to this, and you can master that, and that's just like kind of what. It's just weird to read, kind of in plain text, but I'm like that's kind of cool to think about it like that.
Yeah. Yeah. He comes out, I think the following sentence after that is repeating a habit leads to clear physical changes in the brain, which is
Exactly.
wild. So it's just like a muscle. Yeah. I mean, it just really comes down to just putting in the reps. Let me see. I thought it was interesting how on 145 he draws out that graph. There's about the habit line where there's basically the habit line represents a learning curve where it takes, from at point A, the habit requires a good deal of effort and concentration to perform. B, it gets easier but still requires some conscious attention. But then with enough reps and practice, it becomes a habit and it's automatic. I thought that was just a cool thing. And he even backed it up by data that was crazy similar. But it was another short chapter. Did you guys have anything else?
No, I just thought the key takeaway from that was at the bottom of the chapter summary, like the amount of time that you've been performing a habit is not as important as the number of times you've actually performed it.
Yeah, the number. Yeah,
Yeah,
not the amount of
number,
time.
right?
Yeah,
Just the number of times you're actually performing it.
yeah. So I mean, it just shows
Repetition.
if you want to get better at something, you got to do it every day,
Thanks.
as much as possible. Chapter 12, the law of least effort. Is this one? I had something on 151.
Go for it.
I thought it was interesting. So I think he starts off the book with just figuring out human nature when it came to our agriculture and how it was very easy for the countries like China and Russia to expand and increase their population due to just the way they could harvest and deal with the climate, because the climate was the same all across their entire region, while for instance like United States and South America is more up and down compared to left and right. And it says, so building off of that, he says on 151, it is human nature to follow the law of least effort, which states when deciding between two similar options, people will naturally gravitate towards the option that requires the least amount of work. We are motivated to do what is easy.
And that just goes back to like the water and the soda example that he was talking about from our last portion of reading, where it's just that's part of the making it obvious is because you choose the obvious and easy and least effort and whatever. Like it's just I feel like that's just for most decisions. You maybe wouldn't do that. I feel like the time you would do that the least is in your very specified field. Like if you're really intently working at a job or something within your like workforce. But I mean, outside of that, I feel like we're even more hardwired to just go with whatever the flow is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah, and he goes on and he builds on top of that on 154. And he says, if you look at the most habit-forming products, you'll notice that one of the things that these goods and services do best is remove the little bits of friction from your life. Meal delivery services reduce the friction of shopping for groceries. Dating apps reduce the friction of making social introductions. Riding sharing services reduce the friction of getting across town. Text messaging reduces the friction of sending letters in the mail. So at the end of the day, sounds like if you want to be in a business, you want to be in the business of reducing friction of whatever you need to do. But yeah, I think that's really what I had. Another short chapter. Do you guys have anything?
I don't have much outside of that either.
Yeah, maybe these short chapters kind of threw you off and you were just flying. 2 chapters
No,
felt like
for
one to
real.
you. Moving on to chapter 13, how to stop procrastinating by using the 2-minute rule. I thought this was really good. I was actually telling my fiance about this too. I actually want on 161, I want to get this framed, this decisive moments. I think this is super cool. Just like basically, I'll try to show the camera, but it's like this chart right here, where it splits off where you do one good choice followed by a bad choice, by a good choice, by a bad choice, etc. And next to it is kind of a gauge between if you're justifying it's been a good day or a bad day based on your choices, and how every single choice matters.
And it really breaks it down because I mean, what is
Yeah.
it? I don't remember if it was the first or the second portion of reading where it talks about how many thousands of decisions your brain makes just in a given day.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
in a given day. And the reality is that they're all in service of something. I think that's something that this book has tried to make a little bit more obvious to you is like, there's not like good and bad, even though it was like earlier. I don't remember exactly how they phrased it. Like it's not good and bad. It's like, is this in service of like who you're
Right, your
trying
goal.
to become?
Yeah.
Like it's not a good habit or a bad habit. Is it a productive habit or a not or an unproductive habit or however you would want to like phrase
Yeah.
it? Where it's just like, yeah, because I mean, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, right, you're only hurting yourself. Like, if you do something to like blow up, say you blow up on your fiance or your wife, you blow up on someone, like, it's only like you're gonna have to apologize for that later, or
Yeah.
if you want to be able to move forward or whatever. Compared to like having the power to in that decisive moment be like, hey, like I didn't like that this happened, and then handling it that way leads to, oh, okay, now it like puts it in a whole different, and that moves you towards a good day.
Yeah.
And that's just one example, but it's like you don't realize that like, making any of those rushed or poor decisions and stuff like that is only hurting yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which is tough.
And then so the main topic of this chapter was the 2-minute rule. He says when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes. The idea is to make your habit really easy. The idea is to make your habits as easy as possible to start. Anyone can meditate for 1 minute, read one page, put one item of clothing away. And as we have discussed, this is a powerful strategy because once you have started doing the right thing, it is much easier to continue doing it. A new habit should not feel like a challenge. The actions that follow can be challenging, but the first 2 minutes should be easy. What you want is a gateway habit that naturally leads you down a more productive path. And he just goes down to like, let's say your goal is running a marathon. You should be just putting on your shoes, which really puts in perspective like what he means by like 2-minute goal, like very, very basic stuff.
And that's, I mean, honestly, and if you don't, no one, I feel like it's not common practice to try and start that way.
Oh,
Like
not
it's,
that
like,
low.
but not even, yeah, but
No.
because he goes as far as like folding the laundry becomes fold one pair of socks,
Yeah.
or just doing yoga means taking out your yoga mat. Like, for most people, you can look at that and be like, I mean, I feel like the brain wants to tell you, I mean, that's all you're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's all you're just gonna take out your yoga mat. You're not getting fit from that. You fold one pair of socks. What's your plan to fold the laundry by the end of the year? Like that's just the way. Or maybe I mean I'm speaking for myself more right now, but it's just like if you're not really, it goes. But you can hardwire it back to like you don't feel like you're making progress, but if you're completing whatever that action is that you're supposed to do, like if you know that you're setting the bar very, very low for yourself whenever it comes to that goal, then maybe it does feel better to like complete that action.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel natural for the most part.
Yeah, I think that goes down with a lot of things. I remember Dave Ramsey, speaking of like habits and stuff like that. He preaches like if you have credit card debt and you have multiple credit cards or you have multiple pieces of debt, always knock out the one with the lowest balance first, even though if it's the highest interest or whatever, just to get the ball rolling of saving and paying it off. So yeah, it really is like a momentum thing, even just building out any habits.
Yeah, he's even on the bottom of 163. They go, people often think it's weird to get hyped about reading one page or meditating for 1 minute or making only one sales call. But the point is not to do one thing. The point is to master the habit of showing up. So, I mean, that's where they say a lot of, I mean, actually, I'm speaking a little bit more into the next portion of reading, but they talk more about like just showing up is you gain a lot more from showing up than you're going to ever realize.
Yeah, it's half the battle.
Yeah, it's like half the battle is just showing up, even whenever you feel like in the dog days and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Does anyone have anything else for this chapter? Nope.
The 2-minute rule is just great, bro. Like just the start stuff.
Have you tested it and done it?
Especially when I first came around to this book, just the whole like, bro, just exercising once again.
Mm.
It's like a reoccurring theme for me. But yeah, I would go. So I did it with push-ups. So I started first day, did 5 push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Next day, 5 push-ups again, and I did that for a week. And then the next week I added
Mm.
5 more, so it got up to 10. And I got all the way up to like, I think it was 35 a day.
Wow.
So I kept a pretty solid habit, but then it just fell off.
It just fell off.
Unfortunately, but
You gotta build it back up now.
yeah, bro. I mean, I've been doing good. I've been exercising at least every other day now. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, bro.
Solid.
Chapter 14: How to make good habits inevitable and bad habits impossible.
Possible.
Um,
I actually got one kind of at the bottom of
Yeah, go for it. I
169,
had
going under 178.
no highlights on this one.
Talking about commitment device, it says sometimes success is less about making good habits easy and more about making bad habits hard. This is an inversion of the third law of behavior change: make it difficult. If you find yourself continually struggling to follow through on your plans, then you can take a page from Victor Hugo and make your bad habits more difficult by creating what psychologists call a commitment device. A commitment device is a choice you make in the present that controls your actions in the future. It is a way to lock in future behavior, bind you to good habits, and restrict you from bad ones. When Victor Hugo shut his clothes away so he could focus on writing, he was creating a commitment device. So I thought that was a pretty cool point, just like the inversion of the third law.
Cut them out.
Yeah.
Anything else for the chapter 14?
I didn't really have much on this either. These last couple ones I really didn't have too many highlights.
Mhm.
Same, and then I started going crazy on the next chapter.
Really?
Yeah. So does that basically wrap up our reading for this portion then?
That wraps up the reading for that. Yeah, because it was just really honing in on basically chapter 14 was just like make it difficult for the bad habits. And yeah, then moving on, part 4, the finale, not this week but next week.
Hey,
4th law, make it satisfying. We're going to be reading from chapter 15 all the way to
I didn't realize how many like notes and acknowledgments were in this book. This thing ends early.
Yeah.
It goes up to 250, right? Or we're reading the
Two-
conclusion, so it goes to 253.
Mm-hmm.
To 253, right? Stopping at the
Hold
appendix.
Yeah.
It tells you like what you should read
Yeah,
next,
253.
little
Yeah,
lessons and
yeah.
stuff like
So what is that? That's nice
that.
little
253. What was that, like 50, 60 pages?
185, another 70 pages.
70 pages.
Another 70 pages just like that, guys. We're going to be finishing up, and then also next week we're going to be debuting Miguel's new book. He was kind of telling us off air. Might be a series.
Hey, and
Could be.
it is the conclusion
Yeah.
of 1 year.
1 year of doing
reading.
it? My goodness,
It's
guys.
insanity.
That is crazy.
Dude,
That's
I'm so
crazy.
ready to get through this first year
Yeah.
just to be moving and building on. That's crazy.
This is quite the habit that we've done.
You guys can't see it, but there's a stack of books on the table right down here that
Not yet.
we've been
We're
reading.
gonna
them.
eventually
Yeah.
get it
You're
up.
gonna be able to see it here
You're
pretty
gonna be-
soon. We're gonna have to move it.
You're gonna
It's gonna be
start
two
covering
stacks.
us.
It's gonna be 2 stacks.
But all right, moving on, switching over to our short snippets of the week. Who wants to go first?
Start on the right,
Oh, yeah.
right to left, right to left.
Um, I was looking up because I saw like this phrase, Japanese proverbs, and I was just looking it up. And one of them is, the mouth is the source of disaster.
It's true.
So the description is, running our mouths tends to get us in trouble, doesn't it? The saying is a reminder to more or less shut your trap. Because
Hey,
sometimes it's better to say nothing at all.
that's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. I like that.
It's good. So Japanese proverbs.
Sounded violent at
Interesting.
first. Yeah.
Right.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. Thought provoking.
All right. Yeah, this is just kind of dumb, but I'm curious about your answers. All right. So the thought-provoking question of the day is, if you could choose to be an animal for a day, what would you choose?
A dog.
Why?
Just for a day, bro.
Just for a day, real quick,
Look at
real quick.
this
Yeah, but like,
prime example.
okay.
I want to know what it's like to just live a dog's life.
That would be.
like all I have to do. I mean, from my perspective.
Would you be a good
from my-
dog?
Yeah, bro. Of
All right.
course.
Didn't know if you like tear stuff up or
No, I
nah.
want
You
the
just be the
treats.
best dog. Oh, get the treats.
I need the table scraps.
Come here,
like-
Miguel.
Yeah, bro. Exactly.
That's good.
Sit.
What do you got?
I'll be a bird.
I like that.
I think it'd be really cool to fly
Yeah,
for a day.
I like that.
That'd be sick. No traffic
I like that.
At all.
at all.
I know. I was thinking about that too. I was close on going with bird, but I would be a whale
Really?
Bro, that would be super interesting.
because
No land.
I'm not scared of like something necessarily attacking me being that big. I'd be the biggest whale. Whatever the biggest whale out there is, I'd be that. And I would explore what the heck is going on in the
Yeah.
depths of this ocean.
But
I
you
got
can't-
no
you can't
idea.
see.
What are you talking about?
You can't see what's down there.
Yeah.
Whales can't see?
No,
Not
at a
down there.
certain
At a
point,
certain
bro,
light, there's no light.
there-
I would
yeah.
be a fish at the bottom of the ocean.
There you
At
go.
the depths of the wherever the mega
The trench.
yeah, the
Oh, the megalodon.
the megalodon, wherever he's chilling at, I would be way down there, and man, I would love because the man, I am fascinated.
Yeah, bro, that would
I
be
am
crazy.
fascinated by that. That's the first thing I thought of. That's when I saw that I was like, I immediately went straight to whale because I'm like, man, what? It'd be cool to explore like the crazy depths of the ocean and not be scared.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
I would never do it on a submarine. I would never do it like
Do
obviously.
you think? I don't know. I feel like if you're still human and you're just doing it for the day, I feel like you'd be terrified. Like you still feel that ancientness. Like I was just thinking
That's a
about
good
like
point. That's a
I was
good
just thinking
point.
about flying for me. Like all right, I'm a bird. I gotta jump off this building now.
And just
You
right?
just have the natural, yeah, you have the natural senses of the animal, but you have but you can accomplish your goal.
Right.
I'm auditing the question.
Okay.
I'm changing, I'm adjusting the question.
There you
I
go.
like that a lot. Like seeing the depths of the ocean.
I'm
Wow.
curious, like even if it couldn't, even if it couldn't be that deep, like I'd want to go to some unexplored part of the ocean.
Try to
Some,
find Atlantis
some,
over here.
That's what I was.
oh,
You might find it.
hey, yeah,
you
fish with
go.
a radar.
All right.
Yeah,
And-
it's the finale.
But what do you call it? Ending off this podcast with our famous "Am I Wrong?"
Yes, that's what.
story.
Am I wrong?
Am I wrong to locking the goddamn door a hill to die on? Okay, very simple. The people in the story are me, 25F, and my partner, 27M. So 27 male, 25 female.
Mm.
We have been living together since the January of this year, but the issue started once he started spending a lot more time at my place 2 years ago. I live in the apartment complex, pretty safe area, but to get to my place, you have to open the front door of the building with a key or a code, pass the secretary door at the same code, and then take the stairs to my front door. We both have keys to all the doors.
Lockdown.
I have a neighbor on my first floor, ground level, and a neighbor above me. Since my partner has been with me, he often forgets to lock the door. It happens on a regular basis and only when I am still home or when we are both home at night. He always locks it when the place is empty, aka I've never come home to a door unlocked at least, but I have expressed multiple times my concern about having the door unlocked without me knowing while I am inside. To me, it feels not prudent and puts me at risk. While I don't actually believe something will bad happen, I do believe you only need it for it to happen once to be a problem. What if a weirdo manages to get in the building and walks in my apartment while I'm showering? What if someone comes and steals my things while I'm watching a show and we're sleeping and the insurance does not cover it because technically the door was open? I always end up noticing around 45 minutes after he leaves or in the morning after he comes home late, and I'm always upset about it. When we argue about it, he always says something along the lines, we are in a safe area and at least one of us is home, which to me is besides the point. After I complain, he does it better for a while, and then 2 weeks or a month he'll be back at it. It's so frustrating. He knows how locks work. He does it all the time. Why us or me being here stopping him from locking? It's something that has been happening more and more, and I'm absolutely frustrated. I've decided that I am putting my foot down and will be dying on this hill, although I do not know yet how to enforce it without putting a strain on the good aspects of a relationship. I feel I am being reasonable, but am I wrong?
I think so. This is the perspective I'm looking at it from. Is I
Mhm.
would want my wife to feel as comfortable as possible and feel secure. So my thing would be if if she says, I don't feel comfortable when the door's unlocked because of
Sounds
X,
like
Y,
she's
and
saying
Z.
that.
Yeah,
Right.
completely just outright. It's just you don't even have to read between the lines, honestly. It's just plain and simple. Like, I don't feel comfortable in that situation. I'm gonna lock the door, and I don't think she's wrong at all for wanting that, because some of those scenarios I go through in my head. Like, I don't want to be showering and think
Right.
like, okay,
Someone's
what if
at your
somebody
door.
just walks in the house?
Yeah.
Like, that would suck, bro. Like,
Yeah.
that's probably one of the worst situations, because it's like you're naked. You're
Yeah.
naked in the shower, and then if somebody comes in your house, you're gonna have to fight this stranger off while you're naked, because you're not gonna be like, oh, like, let me go throw on some clothes real quick. If they bust through your shower, like the bathroom door, and they're like, hey, like, give me all your stuff, like,
What do you mean by
you're
that?
gonna be like, like, please, like, let me put on some underwear first and we can talk. No, it's not gonna happen. But no, she's not wrong for wanting that.
So
Feel secure.
before I hear Landon's question
Mhm.
or answer, do you lock the door already frequently when you
Oh,
like
yeah,
come in?
bro.
Yeah.
It's
So it's already a
constantly-
habit for you.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Especially the neighborhood and area I was brought up in.
Gotcha.
Lock the door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Landon?
Yeah, man, reading this story, I was like, at first I was almost, it sounds like a masculinity thing where it's like, I'm going to lock it if we're not here to protect it. But if I am here,
Mhm.
then I'm protecting it. Like
Right.
it almost sounds like that, which is unreasonable to a certain extent. I can maybe, that's the only way I can maybe see it. Because otherwise, like, if you're just, like, I would have to know, is this guy just a naturally forgetful person? Because, like, how do you go from, like, you know, doing it consistently to just going back to not doing it? Like, it almost sounds like you're trying to just, like, jab, but, like, there's, like, in a not funny way, I
Mm.
guess. Because, like, in an unsafe way. Like, to answer the question, I don't think she's wrong. To make a whole Reddit or a whole, like, you know, just, hey, this is my situation and I'm dying on this hill. Like, dying on the hill of safety, it's one of those things where it's just like I'll out myself right now. I don't wear my seatbelt all the time, and for me, it's not like an act of defiance. It's just I'm normally driving on like 35-mile-per-hour roads and stuff like that. If I'm going on like a long trip, I'll put it on. And this is just, I mean, I just don't wear my seatbelt enough. But like my wife will tell me, like, if she realizes it, she's like, hey, put your seatbelt on. It's not like no.
Right.
It's like, oh, okay. Like, I'll put my seatbelt on, especially if I'm not, like, if I'm in the passenger seat or whatever. And like my car also doesn't like make a noise whenever I'm not wearing my seatbelt. Like in my wife's car, it makes a noise. I always put it on.
Mm.
It's almost like a reminder, which is why they do that. But it's like to the certain point, like but that's like direct safety. It's not like a no,
Right.
like I don't need it. And this is like the same type of thing. It's just like why would you not lock the doors? It sounds like there's a bunch of passcodes too to get in. Like, you got to unlock, then you got to punch in, then you got to, like, I think the biggest issue is maybe you have a lower and upper person. If you're not locking one of those doors that leads to them, that's a problem.
I don't think
You
it's
see what
that
I'm-
door.
And
I
so
think
it's just
the,
their door.
their
You got
door.
to get in,
Yeah.
then your door.
yeah.
So that's what I was thinking too. I was like, yeah, I mean, to his point, he says they live in a nice area, and then you already have those two reinforcements. But the only problem with that is if someone gets through those two and tries to go bottom, the door's locked, top, the door's locked, and they get to your door and it's unlocked, then you're just going to end up being the victim of that crime just because other people are locking their door. Like, I definitely don't think she's wrong because of the safety aspect of it. If she's just like, it's so annoying, like, I just want him to lock the door and didn't give any context or make it like that, I think whenever it comes to safety and stuff like that, like, you should, be honoring.
So do you lock your door when you're home?
That's why I have automatic locks because
Mm.
so I used to at our old place. Let's see, this would have been so these past 2 years now, or I guess year and a half. I've been living with the automatic, like the self-locking door, which is nice because I realized I don't like a lot of the time I don't, and I think it's because I know that because before I always locked the door.
Right.
Like we lived in a gated community that had like a couple gates down, so it wasn't really a gated community. You could get in if you wanted to, but it was like had to use your boom, the gate would open up.
Yeah.
That was the year before, and I would still lock it every single time. Also, we have animals, so like that's like a whole nother thing. Like we don't want anyone being able to get into our animals and stuff like that.
Mm.
So yeah, I mean I've always just had a habit, but whenever I grew up in the country, we didn't lock our door.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be, yeah. It's
Yeah, like
like-
we left our cars unlocked. Like I'm even honestly not great at locking my car, so my key fob doesn't have like the lock thing on it anymore.
Mm.
So I have to lock it inside my door, otherwise I gotta open it back up and like push lock. So I'd say I only lock my car like 85% of the time.
Oh,
Like
there
sometimes
you
I
go.
just gotta-
Targeted.
It's
If you see Landon out, follow his car. See.
Don't- yeah, yeah,
Ah, got him.
yeah, y'all got me. Y'all got me. There's nothing in there. Steal it. I got cameras. But no, yeah. What do you think about
Yeah, I agree. But I actually did before meeting my fiance. I really did have a bad habit of not locking my door like when we came in, and that's slowly changed since like hanging out with her because her family and always locks the door even when they're there. So now it's gotten to the point, but like my family doesn't. My family doesn't at all, really.
I mean, it's somewhat of an inconvenience. Like if I left this in my car, I'm gonna go grab it, but you gotta go grab the keys first and then go to your car or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like, I mean, but saying that out loud just makes you hear how
Yeah.
ridiculous it sounds.
But I mean, you
In your
know what they
brain.
say: easiest thing, reduce the
It just
friction.
makes it
Yeah.
it the easiest
But-
choice.
But yeah, so no, I agree with her. Like, but yeah, I also agree with Miguel. Like, hey, if it's your girl's safety, like,
Yeah.
do whatever she, requests on that. Yeah,
I think it
It's
really
not-
just comes down to safety. It sounds like he's not as cautious of a person.
yeah,
Like, I mean, just from maybe that's a telltale sign that, hey, this isn't the type of person I should be with. What other areas is he not cautious in? But I'm not the therapist.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, it's interesting though. I didn't think of the like masculinity side of it. Like, oh yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
like,
thought
I'm
of.
home.
I'm gonna
It's
hold it
good.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
type
gonna
of thing.
hold it down.
hold it down.
No,
I wish he would.
yeah.
I wish they would come through that door.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that'd be the only thing I can think of. Like, you have a shotgun.
Because why do you
Handy.
do it? Why do you do it for a while
Yeah.
with regularity and then just over time just stop? It's like that's why to me it's either like is this person just that's why I was looking at it from are they forgetful or are they just lazy or is it somewhere more like I was saying like they want to defend the kingdom.
So, to follow up on it, then, all right. So it sounds like this guy has a bad habit of locking his door. What would you guys reading this book, tying this book, to fix his
Reading what
bad
book? I
habit?
thought we closed that.
Yeah, very true.
You open it back up?
Yeah, well, you got the master. You got all the keys right now.
Ah. Yeah, I'll let you
What
know.
would you do? What would you do if you're in his
Chapter
situation?
17 has something great for this.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to give it up.
There you go.
Bro, that's tough though, because it's like you have so many layers of doors to get through. So it's like that automatically just makes it like, oh god, I have to type in this code again. But I mean, he could reframe his mind, say, hey, I get to punch in all these codes
To keep
I
my
have
girlfriend.
so much security, and my girl's okay.
Yeah,
So that you do it's
That'd
just a
be the only
mindset
thing.
thing.
Yes.
You wouldn't need anything else.
instead
to
of
fix it.
having to lock the doors, I have doors to lock.
Yeah.
Thank
There you
God
go.
I have some doors to lock.
That'd be the only thing I could think of.
What about you?
That,
Landon?
that was basically my answer.
You would
Try and
just
just reframe
you just
it.
change
Just like,
you just
I
change something
get-
in your head.
yeah, or maybe set like I mean, if you constantly have a work schedule or something like that, where you're getting home from work around like 4:30, set a timer for 4:35 every single day, and at 4:35 you figure out, okay, did I lock all the doors?
Mm-hmm.
And if you didn't, then you got to walk back out there and do it. And it's almost
Right.
like negative reinforcement where
Right.
it's like, okay, I'm gonna start locking these the first time.
So set a
Because
reminder. Yeah.
especially like if you're getting home from work first, and, like that's the problem is where it comes into play is like if you're getting home from work first and she's coming in and then she notices compared to she gets at home at 3:30, I get home at 4:30, she doesn't even really know if I'm locking all the doors,
Yeah.
because the day's over, then you go about like, and then it could be anyone or something like that. But yeah, I mean, my biggest thing too is just like if you're having anything to do with the security of the top and the bottom floor, those people, like, then it's just like almost just disrespectful
Yeah.
to not be keeping up with the locks and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
mean, people will complain about that.
Yeah, I like that. I like the reminder on your phone. I probably would put a sign like, like when you close like our door to their place, like have a little sign that says like, "Did you lock?" or like
Mhm.
"Lock the door" or something, just to.
My parents have
Visual
something like
cue.
that.
Really? Do they
Yeah,
do?
well, my mom, she forgets stuff sometimes when she's going to work. So like, especially at the apartment, their last apartment, she had a list. It's like glasses, wallet, lunch.
Nice.
She just always had that on the door because it's like that's the last thing you see. when
Yeah.
You're about to walk out.
Yep.
So that would be a good one.
Yeah.
I actually use that list too. Like, whenever I was traveling a little bit more often, I think I did it like actually whenever I first moved down here to Florida, and I was like going back for Thanksgiving and Christmas like back to back, and I would travel and I would like make a list of what I wanted to travel with, like of what I needed, because like I went for Thanksgiving and I was like, oh, I don't have my computer charger.
Mm.
Oh, I forgot my contact solution. One time I forgot my glasses. Like I forgot my glasses, which means I had to wear contacts all the way up until I go to bed, take them out, and then basically I'm done. Like I just got to go to bed. There's no like, and my eyes like would just get super dry all the time. So like that was miserable for me. So I just made like in my notes this like 20
Giant
20 item,
checklist.
20 item checklist, and I would just go through and make sure I had it all, and it helps with not leaving stuff behind
Yeah.
as well. But
There you go.
I had like a travel checklist for whenever I'd be going home.
There you go. All right. Well, that is it for part 3 of the Atomic Habits by James Clear, guys. And we have just one more part to go before the next book and our final book of doing this for an entire year.
Of the book club year.
Of the book club year, yeah.
Yeah, it's
bro.
different.
That's right.
We
We're gonna be going
operate
out with
in-
a banger. Miguel's got something.
You know, it's also kind of crazy because, like in history, March is like the traditional like New Year because
Really?
yeah, the way it's looked at is, I mean, I don't know. The way we do it now is like January is the reset year because it's supposed to be the first month of the year, but throughout history, it's been March is the New Year because it brings in new life. So you're
Ooh.
away
Oh,
from
because of the
winter.
spring?
Exactly. So
Interesting.
it brings in new life. Everything starts to grow again. So that's technically the new year. So
Hey, the book club bros operate on the real New Year.
that's crazy. That is actually pretty crazy.
Wow.
Get outta
I've never
here.
even heard of that. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, it makes sense, and I'm buying it. I mean, hey, it fits our narrative.
There you go. All right, guys. That's right. We'll be finishing up the Atomic Habits by James Clear and debuting Miguel's.
You'll be finishing up. I'm almost finished.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. And yeah, we'll be debuting what Miguel's got cooking up next week.